From the BBC World Service, in association with ABC and Akashvani, this is Stumped.
Hello and welcome to Stumped, your intercontinental hit of news, features and debate from the quirky world of cricket. I'm Alison Mitchell and I'm in London, where I've had a brilliant weekend and a week with Australian relatives who have been over. A lovely weekend in Northamptonshire at my parents' house. We've packed them off to Italy and France now, so they'll be having a whale of a time. The domestic cricket season has finished. We've had the awards season and now it's very much World Cup season, isn't it?
Jim Maxwell for the ABC in Sydney. He should have packed the Royals off to North Sydney Oval. What a show the other day, eh? Hayley Matthews making that 100. Most extraordinary performance. I know the ground's a shoebox, but still, it was amazing. And let's hope we see more of that. We're into some women's cricket, the Sheffield Shield, the Marsh Cup. So things are starting to happen, and it's almost time to go slip, slop, slap if it gets a bit warmer. But we had some rain, which is always good because we have bushfires, and the rain puts the bushfires out. So the next bushfire I'm hoping to see is in India when the Australian batting takes off. We'll see.
Well, we'll see. I'm Sunil Gupta for Akashvani and I'm in New Delhi. But the World Cup's got a slightly tepid start because the big news here is the Asian Games, where India's picked up its best ever haul throughout the history of the Asian Games. We're past 80 medals, almost 20 gold medals. So this has really been a breakout season. And of course, the World Cup itself is now going to take center stage, as Jim was saying. We certainly hope, and everybody in India hopes, that it is going to be here after 12 years that India will lift the cup once again.
Well, let's see. I hate to say it, but it is now move over Asian Games because the World Cup has hit the town. After all the hype and the anticipation, the Cricket World Cup is finally underway in India. And over the course of 46 days, the sport's biggest tournament is showcasing the world's 10 best 50-over teams. Now, England are the defending champions. At the last time India hosted the World Cup, you mentioned 2011, Sunil, that was MS Dhoni and co becoming champions back then. And I was lucky enough to be on the outfield as that trophy was lifted and Sachin Tendulkar was chaired around the shoulders of his teammates. 12 years on then, and with the hopes of the nation firmly behind them, how will India perform? They start their campaign with a mouth-watering clash against Australia on Sunday in Chennai. So give us a sense then, Sunil, a bit more of just what it has been like in the country in the lead up to the World Cup. And you're there in Delhi. How's it in Delhi specifically?
Well, actually, I mean, Delhi is really microcosmically India. I mean, everybody's talking about it. It's been talking about the Pakistan team coming here after 6 or 7 years. It's been talking about the actual selection of the team, and I know we're going to be coming to that later. But I think, as I said, I mean, the games are starting now. We've had the warm-up games as well. And I think a lot of attention is being paid to the chances of the teams in the World Cup. I think people are saying, there are 4 or 5 really in contention. We shall see, of course. So, as I said, it's a slow burn right now, largely because of the Asian Games. But I think once these are over, it's going to be a really, really, really big burn because, as you said, this is India's chance to win after 12 years.
Yeah. What about home advantage then? We look at the last 3 World Cups, Jim. They've been won by the host nation, but that's not a guarantee at all, is it? I mean, 1987 and 1996, India played at home and got knocked out in the semis. And then Australia in 1992 couldn't make the knockout stages as hosts. And I have to look at England in 1999, and they were dismal at home then. So the home advantage, does it play much of a role? And for India, you just think, well, there's the weight of expectation. Does that translate to pressure from all their home fans as just to what they expect from their team?
Combination of the players and the crowd and the conditions. Yes, there is a home ground advantage for India, but as we've noticed in the last decade, in the big matches they've played to win trophies, they're vulnerable. And that may be the case here if they don't have a confident start to the series against Australia. If they were to go down in that match, I just wonder how it might affect them. They had the galvanising influence of Dhoni in 2011, and they've got some quality players there, particularly with Kohli. But I think there is some expectation, and it is to be remembered that a lot of these good players have been IPL T20 stars in conditions they've become very familiar with against players they've become familiar with, and they'll be certainly up for competing against India and anyone else for that matter. But I don't think India are a shoo-in. Normally in these tournaments, once you get to the semi-finals, anything can happen. And it happened to India in 1996 and on other occasions. So, yes, they are a very powerful team at their best, but they're no certainty.
Yeah, the cream will rise to the top when you're looking at such a elongated programme. I mean, when you go back to the 2013 Champions Trophy, that was the last time that India won a major global tournament like this. And since then, they've really fallen below expectations. I mean, you could say flopped might be even a better word for them on the world stage in that sense. When I look at England, Jos Buttler's been saying, he doesn't view them as defending champions. He doesn't like the word defend because he wants his team to attack. But, it doesn't sort of feel like this big thing from an England perspective that England are the defending champions. Because 4 years does feel like a long time ago. It's like it's a clean slate and England are going out there from their perspective trying to win anew. A bit of an injury worry, like with Stokes and his hip playing up sort of in the build-up. But England do have depth, and they'll show that with having Harry Brook in their squad and adding him at the last minute almost. But what about this pressure of expectation, Sunil, from the Indian fans on their team? Because with 1.4 billion fans just expecting nothing less than victory in every match, they've got to deal with that pressure. And, team selection is going to come into it as well. Consistency is going to come into it.
Yeah, well, I think home advantage is a double-edged sword. Yes, of course, everybody's going to be cheering for the Indian team. But, if they slip up somewhere, there's going to be a lot of postmortems actually that are going to be there, and that's going to start really with the team selection. There's been already so much debate. You brought it up, the team selection. Well, I think the key is, frankly, for me, that Ashwin is in the team. I mean, India left Ashwin out in the World Test Championship, which was a huge blunder. The number one bowler in the world. Now, how can you leave him out of the Test game? India was going in with a team that had no off-spinner at all, nobody. In 2011, we had Ashwin, we had Harbhajan Singh, we had Suresh Raina who could bowl some, we had Virendra Sehwag who could bowl some. We had no off-spinner in this team, but two left-arm spinners. And why were they there? Oh, because they can bat. Well, frankly, I mean, I know I moved on to the team, but that was the wrong way of picking a team, because you don't pick batters who can bowl, but you want to pick bowlers who can bat. That doesn't make sense. If you get bowlers who could take the wickets, then you don't need to chase 350 every time. That's the whole point. And I think they've got it right. I actually thought Washington Sundar was in with a shout because, they said, Ashwin is slightly slower on the field and all that sort of thing. But, Washington Sundar brought a lot of things with him. Right arm off spinner, left arm bat, very quick in the field. But I think India finally has got a balanced team. I think that's going to make a big difference. I think Ashwin has got to play, especially in the first game against Australia, which is at Chennai, and that's his hometown, his home ground. And if he's not going to play, I'm going to tell you there's going to be a hell of a lot of
There'll be uproar.
People. Oh, an absolute uproar.
Very much so. What about the Aussies, Jim? Interesting sort of late change of tack from them, isn't it, with the addition of Marnus Labuschagne to their squad in place of Ashton Agar. So they're saying, right, we're going to stack in an extra batter rather than have another specialist spinner. But how do you see them shaping up against India and then overall?
I think the key is going to be their pace bowling, particularly Mitchell Starc, who's been an outstanding bowler in this form of the game for some time. I think the spin is a concern. Zamp is really the only spinner, although Maxwell will bowl his part-timers. I think they've decided to pick their best. Obviously, they don't feel like bringing up Todd Murphy, someone else, to be the other spinner is the way to go. And Labuschagne's there almost as a frontline player in the hope that, and it is a bit of a hope more than a reality, I think, that Travis Head will recover from his fractured hand and be a part of it. But it's not guaranteed. I know it lasts 7 weeks. and he's still got a bit of time once he's fit to get himself match fit. But that's a little bit of a punt. So as I say, Australia will be banking on particularly the power play at the start of every innings. David Warner has played very well in this form of the game, even though his Test cricket may have slid off a little bit. And if Australia make these rollicking starts, we love that word, then they're going to make 350 plus with the amount of batting they've got down the order. So I think that's what they've decided to do, go with the strength, which is their batting, probably their pace, fast and medium pace. And I'm not sure about Zampa playing every game, but it could be a factor if they sense there's something in the pitch for the spinner. Otherwise, he goes a long way against good batsmen.
Now, as mentioned earlier, 10 teams taking part in this World Cup. And for one nation, well, the Netherlands defied all odds to get to the tournament. They edged past West Indies, Zimbabwe, Ireland and Scotland to take up one of the final 2 qualifying spots alongside Sri Lanka. So this will be the Netherlands' 5th World Cup appearance. Their record at the tournament stands at 2 wins and 18 defeats. Now, the Netherlands' most capped player in their history, with 237 appearances, is Tim de Leede, and he's featured in 3 previous World Cups, including the 1996 tournament, where India were the co-hosts. 27 years later, Tim's son Bas is a key player all-rounder in the Netherlands squad and embarking on his very first World Cup. And so we're delighted to have proud father Tim with us now. Great to have you, Tim. How proud are you feeling now at the moment then to have your son playing in the World Cup?
Well, I'm delighted for him. He's worked hard towards this, and to get this reward nobody expected. So I'm very happy for not only him, but for the whole squad. Are
you going to get out to India at all to watch?
Yeah, we're trying to go to the Australia game. And then we want to go to the England and India game, the last 2 games, early November.
Okay, well, they'll be crackers. I'm really interested, Tim, if you can take us back to the start of your World Cup journey in 1996, because I'm sure things look very different then to, I guess, what Bas is used to in the Netherlands setup. But can you give us an idea of what Dutch cricket was like in the 1990s?
It was a lot. All the players were Dutch that were playing. Dutch born and bred. We trained once a week, I think. And we only had 1 indoor net, so only the 4 batters could bat. And that was before going out to the World Cup. Some could bowl. We did a lot of fitness. Well, a lot of fitness. We did fitness, and that was about it. So
I'm tempted to ask, what did the fitness entail?
We actually had the fitness coach from Ajax Amsterdam, the football club. So that was pretty decent. But I played football myself, so I didn't need it. But most of the guys did need it.
Yeah, and you only had a coach during the summer months, is that right?
Yeah,
it wasn't a full time.
If we were lucky, there was a coach for 2 months. And we had a coach during our 2-week. Every winter we had a 2-week trip somewhere, and a coach joined us there. So. It was more like saying basic stuff. I never worked on my personal game, to be honest.
Wow, it seems quite amazing, isn't it, that you go to a World Cup on that sort of backdrop. Take us to the 96 World Cup then, and just what are your memories of that time, co-hosted between Pakistan, India and Sri Lanka? What was that experience like?
Well, the most incredible experience for us was the opening ceremony in Calcutta, where there were 130,000 people in the stadium. And the drive up to the stadium, there must have been another few 100,000. And for us, we are just the normal people, so to speak. It was a fantastic experience to be part of that. And then the matches, we only played 1 match in India for a sellout crowd. And then we moved on to Pakistan and played our last games there. It was absolutely fantastic.
And if I look to the 2003 World Cup, I actually looked up the match there against India, because you bowled India out for 204. There really could have been a big upset. But you got a pretty handy scalp in that match, didn't you, amongst your 4 wickets?
Yeah, Sachin Tendulkar. I had never heard of him before. But, well, actually, I was 35 then. And I thought, well, if I need I need to take an ODI wicket, because I never taken one. And I need to score a 50 in this World Cup. So if I achieve that, at least I've done something. So I took his wicket, and then I took a few more that day. And the next game I got a 50 against England. So after 2 matches, I was happy already.
Tendulkar and Dravid that match as well, we should note.
Yeah.
Jim, I'll let you come in.
Was nice.
Tim, Jim Maxwell here in Sydney, and I remember watching you in some of those matches. And we're now 27 years on from that World Cup you played in. Your son follows in your footsteps, representing the Netherlands in India. A truly remarkable moment. Have you given him any advice as how he should deal with the conditions in that part of the world?
No, there's a few people he asked. He asked Gary Kirsten for advice, and Andy Flower, who obviously have a lot of experience in India. And it was most of the advice came how to play spin bowling in India. So he asked me for their numbers. So luckily I had them. And he actually called them, and he had a very good chat with them. So I think he's well prepared for the spinners.
Hi, Tim. This is Sunil in New Delhi for Akashvani. And talking about your son, Bas. And he actually attributes a lot of his success to you. He says, I owe a lot to my dad. He spent 6 winters in a row with me in the bowling machine. And you have to train with a very small group of people. And that's one of the issues in the Netherlands. Not very many people who want to take up cricket. So how special is it for you? I'm sure it is. But I mean, to watch him now in a World Cup, I mean, that really must be even better than that 50 in the wickets that you picked up in South Africa.
Yeah. If you're growing up in the Netherlands, you either play football or hockey, basically. And when he was about 14, he also played cricket. But, people always make fun of you when you play cricket over here. That's the way it is. It's an unknown sport. So when he was 13, I think he said, I'd like to train more. So I went to the Dutch board. I said, well, is there a possibility? I've got some talented kids here to train more. And they basically said, no, we have no funds for that. So I contacted a former Dutch captain, Rob van Wilde, who has a big company. I said, well, this is the plan. I want to start coaching some kids, but I need some money. And he generously offered me money for the next 7 years to run a small academy. And that meant I had to drive to Rotterdam, which is like half an hour away, 4 times a week with these kids, and I started coaching them. And well, it's very nice for Bas that he ends up playing in a World Cup in India. 10 years later? So really nice.
Tim, when you speak to Bas, what does he talk about in terms of kind of his, I guess, the team aims, but his personal aims? Has he got the idea of a certain number of wickets and a 50 like you did at the World Cup?
Nah, he's 23. I was 28 when I played my first one and 39 when I played my last one. So for him, hopefully there'll be another World Cup somewhere down the line. But knowing him, he's very ambitious, and he probably wants to score 100 here. So, I wish him all the luck, obviously. But sometimes you need, there's a lot of rain around. And you need a good partnership or some luck with a decision. So I hope he's not too focused on personal goals, but contributions to a win would be enough. And if that means 16 all out or something, I think he should be proud as well.
Tim, it has been great to speak to you. Continue to be proud of your son, and we'll follow his progress indeed intently here on Stumped. Thanks for coming on.
No problem.
That is it for this week's Stumped. So I will say thank you to Jim Maxwell, to Sunil Gupta, and of course to all of you. The World Cup is finally with us, and we'll speak to you again next week. Bye for now.